listening to Football Field Pass, the #1 podcast for Premier League and college football news, analysis, and more. Hello, folks. Welcome back to Football Field Pass with me, Chris Lakis, and
Kevin Rasky. What's going on, everyone? Welcome.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. How you doing,
bro?
I don't know about you, man, but my weekend has been packed.
You think?
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, especially for two guys who run a soccer and football podcast.
Yeah, the other podcast is my F1 podcast, so
yeah.
And then I had to watch I have another podcast. I had to watch stuff for that too. So I had to watch. I was overloaded. I don't even know how I did it. I don't even know how I did it.
How are you alive right now, man?
I don't know. I don't honestly know. It was crazy. I don't even remember my weekend. I just remember
you blacked out. You blacked out.
I just remember Deion Sanders, and I remember Tottenham 5 goals. It was crazy. And then Max winning his 10 in a row, and then freaking Alabama with 5 touchdowns. It was what else? Florida State. It was just. What about you, man? That was my weekend. How was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty crazy too, man. I had a lot of stuff. Got my 4th kid coming in hot in the next 2 weeks here.
Disclaimer, if we stop the episode.
My wife's water broke if we stopped the episode. So
we got 40 minutes, Dana. We got 40 minutes.
What are the contractions at? My water's all over the floor. What's the color? What's the odor? We got time.
No. If it's water broke, you gotta go.
Yeah, water broke. I know. We gotta go. I mean, it's our 4th kid, man. We're pros at this point. This kid's gonna walk out, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've been busy trying to get stuff around the house ready. You know,
nice.
any day now. Baby boy number 4 is gonna come.
Jeez, man. I have one, and I'm like.
It's exhausting, and being a parent is probably one of the most challenging things. Like they say, I mean, no knocking to the guys that we cover in college football and soccer, but you want real skill, man. Try to convince your toddler to go to bed at his bedtime and stay in bed.
Let's put it this way. Let's give it up to Kevin Rasky, everybody. Posting, watching, possible 4 kids because. Dana's got one in right now, and then posted and then watching.
No, bro. No,
you're my hero. You're the ultimate football dad.
I just want my son to have the same love I did. I want him like you and I've talked about growing up watching College Game Day.
Yeah, that's exactly.
As we eat our cereal.
Exactly, bro.
Like that's what I'm here for.
And seeing Laney Wilson, Darius Rucker.
Dude, bro. I mean,
and that's the thing. Like Pat McAfee, if you watched it, he goes, and Laney Wilson. And I'm like, yeah. And then they just went on. I'm like, oh, that was embarrassing.
I mean, I will say that new College Game Day intro is great, man.
Freaking awesome. And I like the Cadillac. There was the Cadillac Boys.
3.
The Cadillac 3.
Yeah.
You can't get country more than you can get country on that.
Well, and I love that they shouted out to Big and Rich like that in there too. That
They
was
did.
Great.
That
was really
it's their
great.
song.
Darius is taking over, and he got to be the guest game day picker, man.
Dude, I love Darius Rucker.
He's
a college guy.
He's a solid dude. He's a solid dude. He gave all the South Carolina players a recording studio. They might as well start looking at potential, recording careers because the game was not the greatest.
Oh, the North Carolina, South Carolina.
Yeah, man. We'll get to that. We will get to that.
Yeah, man.
But overall, man, my weekend was busy. I had to do a lot of yard work today, so I was out in that Louisiana sun because someone in this state had to put in work.
Yeah, man. You happy Labor Day to you. Oh, here we go again. Kevin Rasky. Actually, I did yard work too.
You did. You did yard work too, man.
So I found out, and I forgot to tell you this pre-show, pre-show. is that I had a puddle of water underneath my air conditioning unit.
Oh dang, bro!
And so I had my father-in-law found it. Father-in-law, right?
Yeah.
So you can. I found it, and
Hopefully they aren't watching this episode.
Well, thanks to him, he actually helped me
Yeah.
out so I could pay him back next week.
That's good.
But we got another. He used to be a pastor. He's really great.
Yeah.
Fixed it all up. We're good to go. But I had to get all the bushes and the root, the weeds. Yeah. So all the dads and moms out there who do all this crap.
Yep.
Power to you. Happy Labor Day.
Yeah, man. But yeah, no, it was a good weekend overall. I'm sad to have to go back to work tomorrow.
No, I get you, man.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Let's you know what? Hey, let's forget about all that work.
Oh, where are we going?
Let's forget about all that work, man. Let's forget about the work. Let's go. We're grabbing our field passes, man. We're grabbing our field passes.
We need to make ones.
We really do,
bro. Why don't we think of that?
I'm gonna work.
Why don't we think of that?
I'll get
shirts and mugs next week. We need some passes, bro.
Next week we're gonna get some field passes. We get field passes. We're gonna get shirts. We're gonna look official. By episode 10, you're gonna be like wondering who these guys are. They got no followers.
They got no followers. We got no listens.
But they got shirts. They should. We should, because they got the hats. They got the field passes. But
you know anyway, what? So all you guys, I want you to know this. In this minute mark, Rasky, I'm gonna try to see if we make a clip. I want the ultimate goal is get Pat McAfee on our show.
Long-term goal, right?
Do the app, man. Do that at.
I'm gonna slide into Pat McAfee's DMs. Say, brother.
Anyway,
I will wear the Pat McAfee suit with the shorts, the sleeveless jacket if he comes on this show. It's something y'all don't want to see, but
I do not.
See it.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I do not.
Man, I would wax my back on camera for Pat McAfee to come on this show.
Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson. But anyway, grab the field pass. Grab the field pass.
Where do you want to start? I did the post. I did that. Where do you want to go?
Let's go to Premier League, man. Let's go to Premier League. You got Premier League up. Let's go to Premier League, bro.
All right. Sounds good.
So not much going on. I mean, really, the biggest stuff happening in the Premier League this week is the matches. There's a lot going on. We're about to enter the international break here over the next week. So next week's going to be very scarce. We're not going to have any match highlights because for at least the Premier League, what we might do actually next week is cover some EFL stuff, lower pyramid stuff in England, as well as some other stuff going around the world. But overall, we're gonna dive into the matches but the transfer window closed this past week. That's the biggest news to happen, and I was thinking it'd be really good, man, for us to kind of revisit the summer transfer window and what happened, and like the teams that did really well and some of the teams that did not do well.
So let me stop you right there. So as a new Premier League guy, let's get some education in F1. Let's do some basic 101. So if anybody goes on the Premier League, it's really interesting. You have everything that you need to know. Then you have the football community, and then you have tables. We'll get to that point. But then next to our sign-in, by the way, we have an account. I don't know. You need to sign in on that. Yeah. There's transfers. Just one little slip. Transfers. That's how huge this is. This is the stupid part. The only way I know how to even these work is FIFA 23.
That's how a lot of guys learned it.
And just how do I want to make my team? What's the scouts are doing? What are it is so involved. That is the major part of the season.
And the bigger part here. Oh yeah, it's a major part of the season because these are the key people you can bring in to absolutely turn your club around. You grab one really good player, you make that phenomenal signing, and you could potentially turn your whole club's fortune around because you've got a great striker, or like with West Ham, James Ward-Prowse. They grabbed him in the transfer window from Bournemouth, and the guy has a beauty of a leg, and he has been delivering solid passes up to the front, the forward attackers. And that's the thing with the transfer window, man. And the other thing too is a lot of times the clubs don't have a lot of say unless the contract structure is right for that. Right. So literally, if less like they can have a clause, a window, say, hey, we have this long to give you a deal that you want, the money you want. But once that happens, agents are free to go shop them to any team and club that wants to give them an offer.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, and it could be something where, we get loyalties lying deep. Like, there's many times Mark Noble, a West Ham legend, wanted to got sued, courted by a couple other teams, but Mr. West Ham said, nah, I'm staying behind.
Right.
But, recently you had academy youth, West Ham is known as the Academy of Football. They are known for their academy system and their youth system. They have trained some of the best players in the world that have come through there,
and that's huge.
Yeah,
their academy is huge. Like,
yeah,
no, what
massive.
like in general, as anybody knows. So help me out when I say this.
Yeah.
So most of our listeners are probably don't care about Premier League or they're interested or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Then we have hopefully of listeners, hopefully in the world that listen to this, they know exactly where you're at. So the academy and all the Premier Leagues, it's important. And they also have their own fixtures and matches themselves. Can you
exactly
go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So there's different leagues, different tiers, depending on the academy. So it's like a youth system, basically. Each team in the community. So the teams are more, and this is why the teams are so important. They're the fabric of the community. You look at a team like Wrexham, you look at a team like any team in the lower tiers of the pyramid that plays semi-professional or even professional. A lot of them start academy teams. And what this is all the way from like the little kids kicking soccer balls, on the field. Some do that. Some won't start them until they're 12. But they'll come into the system around 10, 12, and they'll train with the coaches there. They'll basically be training up from the time they're a youth all the way to potentially making a Premier League roster. And they can go and they can travel, they can play, they can get signed. That's how Declan Rice is a great example of that. Declan Rice, the guy who just got signed by Arsenal, is the most expensive English signing ever. He is a product of the West Ham Academy. And that's why it would hurt a lot of West Ham fans so much to get rid of him this offseason, because he was brought up with us. He's West Ham through and through. Mark Noble was like, man, you got to stay around. You got to be here.
Yep.
But, when $105 million came calling, you're going to take it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, anywho, and then then back to the transfer market. Now we fast forward here to the transfer market. The transfer market, Chris, there's two different types of fees. There's not just the transfer fee. The transfer fee basically gets you permission to get the player. And then there's the player. And then there's the negotiations that you have to make for the contract.
With the contract,
which is a whole separate
with
thing.
The player, which is their agent and the player.
Which is whole separate from the actual transfer fee, because you're basically compensating the club for taking their player. And then you're going to say, okay, now you're coming over here, and now what are we going to pay you? It's so different than the way we operate in American sports. And that's, I think, something that's slowly being changed in Major League Soccer, which has been great. I'm actually really happy to see that. But overall, man, the transfer market is a hot thing, and for it to close out and to have the activity it did this summer, I mean, the next one I really want to talk about is, how they did was Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Know that.
They spent so much money this off season. I mean, and they're just
trying to. We're going to talk about that in the pitch, because.
Yeah, I mean, they have $1 billion team. Their team is worth $1 billion.
They're the Dallas Cowboys of Premier League.
Dude, no, they're even worse than that. Yeah, sorry, Chelsea fans, but
yeah, sorry guys.
I mean, there was actually a moment this past weekend where, at one of the West Ham matches, some supporters were standing up, and and one of the guys behind goes, "Hey, Chelsea fans, sit down." They get no respect, but
they get no respect. But they have you were saying that they have the best transfer team. They have the best transfer.
So on pure talent and past production alone, they should be lights out. The problem is they got a whole team together, I mean, they broke the British transfer record for the second time in a year.
Mm-hmm.
They got Moises Caicedo from Brighton for 115 million. But the thing is, it's a young squad. Pochettino is still really trying to get them to link up and play with chemistry and fluidity. And you just don't see it. I mean, they lost 1-0 this past weekend, and they have a really unconvincing attack. I mean, Raheem Sterling can only do so much to take the team on his back. And Caicedo just is looking like a flop, man. And Brighton's sitting up there like, we got $115 million to play with. And I mean, Brighton came out better size deal right now, man. Mm-hmm. And it just goes to show you, no matter how much talent on your team you have on your team, unless they're playing well coordinated football with good tactic and good pace, there's really no chance of success, man. And Pochettino's a great. And this is not to knock Pochettino. He's a great manager. He's a great manager, and I think he's gonna do well. It's just the problem is getting this group of guys to play together with all the talent they have and to get them in a good system that works for them. So it may end up being Pochettino's death sentence if he can't get this right. But another team that has done really well this transfer window is Brighton. I mean, Brighton, like during the transfer window, has become such a like anticipated like thing to watch. It's like, you know, like when you get to Christmas timing, every time you wake up, when Christmas comes around, you look forward to things. You look forward to making cookies. You look forward to watching a certain movie on TV.
Oh man, I got the perfect one. Amazon coming to your front doorstep.
Amazon coming to your front
like
doorstep.
Christmas every day, man. Yeah, Brighton's Amazon.
Amazon. But for the transfer window, it's watching what Brighton does because they do great business, man. They are known so much for going out into the world, finding great players, great folks, raising them up in their system, and getting them to absolutely produce. Caicedo, they got him for $35 million, and they turned him into $115 million transfer. And they're known for that. So this, I mean, like most clubs really quiver at the prospect of losing a lot of key players, like Brighton does every year. But they were happy to take the profit and reinvest it, man. They moved quickly. They brought in experience with Joao Pedro, Mahmoud Dahoud, and James Milner. But the most interesting one is of bringing Ansu Fati this past week, who actually will get a really great chance to fulfill his La Masia promise in the Premier League. So he's got a lot of promise, and it's great. So we'll see what they do, man, because they've been playing lights out. I mean, they're 6th in the table. They had a hat trick this past weekend, man. It's worth watching. So, but I would say some of the worst windows. One of them was Everton. Everton has been it's been miserable to watch Everton this year.
It has.
And considering like the financial constraints they're under, because they're under a lot of financial constraints. Their director of football, Kevin Thelwell, he really did well to address a lot of longstanding issues up front, but the failure to strengthen further and replace several deadline day departures really left the poor threadbare squad in a weaker position. So, and then another team that I really want to touch on too, that really, I think is sad to see their effort in the window, was Manchester United, bro.
I
mean, they are one of my lowest performing teams in the transfer window this summer. However you put it, they entered the window with Harry Kane as that number one target. They want to try and get it because they had that vacancy for that elite number 9 up front, and they wanted to end it, on the shoes of but dude, it's just they ended up by signing a 20-year-old unproven player in Rasmus Højlund, trying to get their own little, Nordic thing going like Man City does. But they brought in Andre Onana, Sofyan Amrabat, Mason Mount, Johnny Evans, Sergio Reguilon. They've arrived, and a lot of these players really need to fire instantly and consistently, but they've just lost opportunities. I mean, I'm not seeing what the excitement was about getting these guys in there, man. So, Man United, man, they got to get something. They got to sell that club. They got to do something to get it going.
We will talk about
anyway.
That. And I don't flame them on this last one. We'll get to that. We'll get to that game. We'll get to the Arsenal game.
What's next for us? The pitch. Let's talk about some matches this weekend, man. It was kind of a relatively quiet weekend for the Premier League. Like everything that was supposed to happen. I mean, there were some shockers. There were some fireworks.
A mix.
You know what? I take that back. It wasn't quiet. There was a lot of goal scoring going on this week.
Okay.
There's a lot of goal scoring. So one cool stat before we jump into anything thing going on, any match, any specifics, is that there were 3 separate matches with hat tricks this week.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
We had Tottenham.
Yep.
We had Brighton.
Go Huspers.
And then, Chris, do you know our other one?
You said Man City, right?
Yep.
And you said Tottenham?
Holland got it. So
Holland got it. Yep.
Tottenham, Brighton, Man City.
Yep.
Holland got his hat trick. He finally got all that rage out that he's been feeling as that goal scoring robot that he is.
Yeah.
Ferguson.
I'm surprised he just hasn't got the name Thor yet. Thor Holland. Why is anybody not Vasky? It's right there. He's blonde. He's got blonde hair. He's huge. He doesn't look 20. Thor Holland. I gotta push it.
You call it Thor. You just keep pushing it. We'll see if it happens. Do you guys think this is gonna happen?
Yeah, guys.
Let's know. Drop it in the comments if you think Thor Holland is something that needs to happen, or Chris is out of his mind.
You know what? We gotta do a poll. How will we poll this?
We'll throw it on Instagram.
Yeah,
I'll throw a poll on Instagram.
Yeah, should he?
Is Chris right? I'm gonna take a picture. Is Chris right?
Should he be Thor Holland? That's
Chris. Make a funny face. I'm taking a picture of this right now. Make your Thor face.
Wait. Oh.
Because I'm gonna post a story. Y'all chime in. Let us know. Drop in the comments. Drop it on
this
that
wins.
Poll.
I will take out my Stormbreaker. I'll take out Stormbreaker.
Mjolnir, or you have Stormbreaker full.
I have Stormbreaker. I have the.
Oh, you Stormbreaker? That's awesome.
That's awesome. Freaking heavy, dude. Anyway,
I bet.
Sorry.
Man. Anyway, Holland had a hat trick. Ferguson had a hat trick for Brighton, and Son had a hat trick for Tottenham. So, which match do you want to jump in first, Chris?
Let's just talk about the $1 billion team, Chelsea. Is it
on
our docket? Is it on our docket? It is in our docket.
It is our docket. We had another match in there. We had Fulham Man City in there, man. I just had to talk about this. This was just, oh my gosh.
The Chelsea and Nottingham Forest,
Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, man. Overall, Nottingham Forest. I don't know how they did it, man.
Yeah,
they pulled out the unrealistic. I mean, they came out with a 3-4-2-1 against Chelsea's basically 3-4-2-1 as well. They both lined up in that same set. Both were pretty good. I mean, pretty good across the board. I mean, they had good work rates.
Mm-hmm.
The Nottingham Forest midfield, I mean, really overall, it was sheer luck, I think sometimes, but they overall just Forest like outplayed Chelsea the whole time, man. I mean, honestly, I don't know, man. I have a weird feeling about this, And Pochettino goes back saying his process. Part of this process is always up and down, up and down, up and down, But I mean, how much can these Chelsea fans take? Todd Bowley's out there going like, spend the money, and people are giving him a hard time because he's American. Obviously, he's one of the American owners in the Premier League. But this is a famous Premier League win for Nottingham Forest. This was a real big confidence.
So I think this is the upset of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do they have a terminology in Premier League as an upset?
Upset's upset, man.
Upset's upset. Okay, good.
Yeah.
This is the upset of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, this is just, you have a $1 billion team and they clean sheet you.
Yeah. Well, and then two, Alonga, who scored the goal for them, the goal that put them on top, he
Mhm.
was brought in on the transfer window for only $15 million from Manchester United last summer, and he hasn't scored a goal for the club since February of 2022. So, he was. I mean, and the only reason he got
Wow.
brought on, off the bench, is because Danilo got injured, and he's basically slotted in the game's only goal 3 minutes after the break, after the break at the half.
Yeah, 48,
Um,
48. Yep.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, and guess who made the mistake to let him through?
This is Sterling.
Oh, well, it was Taiwan Awani made a huge pass because
Mhm.
Moises Caicedo gave up the ball in bad territory. Again, Caicedo, man, poor guy. Like I will say, the guy's got humility. The guy's got
Mhm.
humility.
Mhm.
He's absolutely been. You see him. I don't know if you see him. He prays on the field when he makes mistakes after every match, and
Really?
yeah, before he goes on the field, he prays. I think he's Muslim. But you
Mm.
see him praying, and he's got immense humility. He knows he's made mistakes and he's not doing well.
Right.
He definitely it's hard to see. I feel bad for the young guy. He's got a lot of pressure on him to try and succeed, but
Mhm.
it's he's not, man. He's not, and it's hard to watch, man.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, but anywho, so overall the match was good, I thought. Um, it at times it was a little bit too. It feels weird, to see Chelsea not doing this well. But Chelsea had kind of had a bright start to the match. They're trying to get that third consecutive victory. It should have been them that took the lead before halftime, because there was
Mhm.
a really good chance before that. But the striker really just could not net anything
Mhm.
um for that. So Cole Palmer, their new signing they made right before the window closed, the $42.5 million signing, because they made more signings, of course.
Mhm.
He got introduced. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of things that could have went well for Chelsea.
Mhm.
I mean, Sterling, he had a lot of confidence. He had a brace against Luton last week going to the match. Had some really good moments. But he got contested.
This is this is a prime example of like there's no leadership.
Well, it's not just
So there's
leadership.
no leadership, there's
It's
no
form. It's
identity.
form. It's
That's
absolute form.
you it's like bringing, and this is like American football.
Yeah.
You bring all these free agents in. Bro, it takes a year.
At
Two
least.
tops. I think what's the average when a team like corporate, this. I think you know this. What's the average like to form a team to gel would be the max is 2 or 3?
Honestly, so while in America we give a little more space for coaches to develop the system, implement, and get the teams together, we usually give around 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
Football in Europe, soccer is completely different.
Hmm.
Where as a professional soccer player, you know how to play in systems. I mean, it takes time to gel and learn how to communicate with the other members in the squad, but
Hmm.
that only takes a few weeks. It takes only maybe a month max, 2 months to get you in the starting lineup if you are a top signing.
Hmm.
Furthermore, the manager, he could. I mean, I've seen clubs go through 2 managers in a season.
Yeah, I've seen it recently
Yes.
last year when I first started.
Yep.
But that's the thing. That's the thing now.
Hmm. But
You
it's
can't
yeah,
take the human element out of it. And as much as what Premier
yeah.
League wants to do, you can't
Well,
take that element out of the human element.
devil's advocate here, as I always
Hmm.
do.
Hmm.
Um, just let me tip my hat, have my little devil's advocate segment here.
You?
Um, the problem is that the expectations of supporters of
Hmm.
Premier League clubs
Hmm.
is at a level like we can't even fathom
Oh,
in
I
in
totally
in, in
when
America.
I watch Wrexham,
Yeah, college
I
football is the closest we're gonna get.
close. It's like a maybe. Yeah, no, yeah,
It's
and
a
that's the
wide
thing.
gap.
And that's the thing. Like with
Yeah,
these fans, they have
yeah,
these unrealistic, like Oklahoma, right? We'll
yeah.
get there. oh, we're gonna beat the LC, Scoomers. Like, come on, man, be real. And with I mean, just look at Wrexham.
Yeah.
It took them 3 years. Took
It
them
did.
3 years to mold that. So I know what the expectation of a fan supporter is,
Yeah.
but it's not realistic.
Well, and okay, so the biggest thing is those expectations have been met multiple times by the players that have been signed. There has been times where it's been proven that that can work. That method has been proven more often than not to work
Right.
because systems are easier to introduce. Tactics are easier to introduce in soccer because these professionals have been doing it for so long that they can slot it and play it. It's like, bringing in a skilled craftsman to build a house is going to take a significantly shorter amount of time than someone who's maybe halfway through an apprenticeship.
Oh, well, they go through scouts. So
Oh yeah, they're scouting.
these are
They have yeah,
they
know what they can do
and what
So
formation they can be in.
Yeah.
They know what. So
so
it's just
the expectations are completely two separate worlds.
expectation but again, I just don't think there's leadership. I don't think I think there's leadership in the coaching.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's leadership in the team.
That's the point, is that there's no one really speaking out saying, get your stuff together. Like, you look at
I know there's one. There's one. His name's Raheem Sterling.
Oh, dude.
For him to realize that.
He doesn't realize that he's that leader. He has the pace. He is definitely the spark to their attack. But he was forgettable in the first half, man. He crossed, but he couldn't really turn in the home box. I mean, his opening 45 minutes were just not good, man. It's sad to see.
It is. It is very sad to see.
It is sad to see. But I think Pochettino's optimistic. I mean, I'm with Pochettino. He really says we're not clinical in both areas. We made a mistake, and then we created opportunities. But if you don't score, it's difficult to win games, Dodoy. This type of game, though, I think will help us to be more mature. It's not only about having quality; it's also about competing in different ways. Of course, we can't say that we didn't deserve more, but in football, the stats sometimes reflect what you do, and in that case, we created, but we didn't score. So they've got parts of the phases of the game together, doing well, but they weren't able to turn them into shots on target. Yeah. And they're building something, and building something is always up and down, and that's exactly what Pochettino said. They thought they deserved more against West Ham. They thought they deserved more against. And I think that's another part of it, is that entitlement, that's played into that psyche. But I think Pochettino thinks it's only a matter of time before they're finally playing together and dominating. So,
all right.
Yeah, man. So I think Forest plays with a chip on their shoulder. They used a lot of belief and frustration because they narrowly lost to Man United last weekend. That was the biggest thing. So they took it this week. They spoke quite passionately after the United game. They reminded what some of them said. Some of the build up. They knew what type of game it was, but ultimately Chelsea just looked lifeless. They were slow. They were mundane. Forest pressed them well, kept them stymied in areas that they knew they could. And overall, I mean, Forest was the better team. So
they were. They fought hard, defended well. Definitely the upset. Definitely, we're actually looking at Chelsea a lot more now at this point. So. Let's move on, man. This is the one I really want to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. I loved it. I love seeing Arsenal beat. I love anytime Man United wins. That's just
bro. I understand that. A fraction. That turned the momentum.
That's the beauty of the game, man.
I know. The
beauty of the game.
Fraction,
it had so much drama.
Can I be honest? I don't think he was offside.
I don't know, man.
What do you think? What do you think?
I mean, they used VAR. VAR denied it. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the refs there. They're still debating
What do you think? You saw it. You know what I'm talking about. I just watched the game.
I know.
Yeah.
They had the moment. United thought they had won it themselves, really, in the 88th minute, really,
Mm-hmm.
when Garnacho broke free to score. But really, it was a really, really close offside. I'm gonna say, I lean that it wasn't offside. It was not offside. I lean that it was not offside.
Oh,
The
really?
call happened.
Okay. So
VAR did what VAR does.
you're on the offside.
No, I'm saying it did not happen. I think the goal should have counted.
The goal count. Oh, yeah. I was going to do a Lee
I'm
Corso.
kind of
Not
adamant with
so fast, my
not so fast,
not
midget.
so fast, my friend.
As Lee Dillon said. Do you think it was
Bro,
offsides?
there's a clip when they put the line. I think it's really cool. He is matched. It had to be an elbow.
The hard part.
Because he was not offside. He was onside.
Yep.
And just imagine, let's play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if he did make that goal? Would Arsenal lose? With that momentum?
I don't know, man. It probably would have been a draw, I think.
You think so?
I think it would have been a draw. But because I mean, I don't know, man. It was, I mean, they thought there was a foul on that cross that put him ahead 2-1 from but Rice's celebration in the crowd is great to see, man. Got Gabriel Jesus. I mean, he sealed it. I mean, dude, it was just they crumbled, and after that offside call, Man United crumbled.
Yeah. They just 2 goals.
Yeah. And Rashford looked good, man. I mean, the goal by Rashford,
yeah,
but early on to put Man United up, like that looked good. I mean,
looked real good. Yep.
But I mean, again, then Odegaard, man, that guy's a beast.
He is a beast.
From Arsenal, he absolutely responded so quickly. Mm-hmm. Arsenal thought really they had a chance to go in front. I mean, because they thought they should have had that penalty earlier in the match when Havertz went down in the box and the penalty was awarded. But then they went to the replay and they found out that it was just really, embellishment. And VAR turned that over. So VAR turned the game a different way for Arsenal. VAR turned the game a different way for Man United. It was a rough day for Havertz, but overall, man. That comeback at the end, it was a thrilling finish to a match. Oh, it's my match of the week.
It's the match of the week. It's the match of the week.
It's the match of the week. It was thrilling, man.
Oh, fraction. I had to text my boy. Boy, you know who you are, Clark. He's a Man United. Been a long Man United. I went, ouch, man. He
had to be hurt after that.
I just
he had to be hurt so badly.
The emotion of that, Anyway, this is the match of the game.
Match of the week.
On paper, Arsenal won, right?
Oh,
on paper, Arsenal won.
I mean, their form was way better. Yeah. Overall, I mean, Rice, Odegaard, Zinchenko, Gabriel, White, Ramsdale, Martinelli, Nketiah. Nketiah. Everyone was top notch in their form and outplayed that Man United side.
Yes, sir.
But Arsenal really came out on top because obviously, the atmosphere was insane. The atmosphere for it was absolutely insane.
But they killed him.
They did.
That momentum. Like, I believe in sports, there's moments where it crushes a team.
Absolutely.
And then it takes the win out of the fans.
Yeah, exactly.
And that made a huge difference to me. I think that was the key moment of the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It definitely was. The noise. I mean, when Rice scored that go-ahead goal, man, that place. I don't think they've heard that in such a long time. And even like Mikel Arteta, the boss, the manager for Arsenal, he was just so proud of the team. They worked so hard. He said they worked hard. They planned everything for moments like this. Those moments are going to be sticking with them, motivating them. The crowd and the team were so connected. Again, the atmosphere is what made this game, I think, really. And just absolutely it was great. There's big history in the matches, but Rice, he thought it was a tremendous performance. I mean, I think Declan Rice, hurts my soul to say this as a West Ham supporter. Rice had a phenomenal game. I'm sad he's not with us anymore.
Oh, he was with West Ham? He was with West Ham?
Yeah, he was West Ham. West Ham was the one. The one I talked on earlier about with the academy system. The guy
yes.
We were hoping he'd stay, but they got $5 million off him on a transfer fee. So, West Ham's looking good though. So I'm not gonna. I mean, they're actually ahead of Arsenal on the table right now. So we're talking. But no, Rice. He looked great. He had a tremendous performance. He's a holding midfielder, and he knew how he needs to dominate his area to break up play. He was just so dominant, so dominant. If I had to categorize his form in that match in one word, it'd be dominant. And then he obviously helped with that magic moment with that goal ahead goal. It takes a lot of quality, takes a lot of composure. He had it. So obviously there's still a lot more games to go. I know Arsenal fans are gonna be like, Arsenal's in Europe, let's go. But
all right, man.
Gridiron
coming to your city.
Oh my gosh. What
Pat McAfee. Just to start off with the Pat McAfee, Reese Davis, just Desmond Howard, Kirk Kirkstreet.
Like, I love Lee Corso. I like I said to Chris and I, we talk every day.
Every day.
We have a chat going on, especially when games are going on. Yep. We were both watching game day, and we're just like, man, poor Lee Corso. And like, I want to give him props first. Coming back from a stroke is not an easy thing, especially at his age. How old is Lee Corso again? He's got to be in his 80s at this point.
He's 88.
He's 88.
He's 88. Yeah.
You're pretty sure? Can you let's fact check that quickly.
Let's fact check that. Yeah, hold on one second.
Let's fact check
producer,
that.
We're both producer. Let's do this together.
Lee Corso. He is 88 years old. You're correct, sir.
Oh, dude. I was hoping I was wrong, to be honest.
I know. He's 88 years old. He had a stroke at 86. He came back from it. The fact that he is sitting there talking with any coherency whatsoever on camera.
Miracle.
Yep. Dude he's a beloved legend. And the one thing I know for sure is I know it's sad and it hurts us to watch him like that, anyone like that.
I think it hurts Kirk a little bit too.
Kirk loves Lee. Lee and Kirk are best buddies. They've been together for so long. Yeah. Kirk has said multiple times he will not do the show without Lee. Mm-hmm. So Lee will be on there until Lee retires or dies in his chair on the stage. I mean, that's pretty much what's going to happen at this point. But yeah, overall, I was happy to have a good week one. Week 0 was, we had some stuff going on, but week 1 there was some amazing stuff going on. I mean, the group of 5 teams were phenomenal. Fresno State, Texas State, my goodness, taking Baylor down by 20 something. And here's the funny thing: we're going to talk about Colorado and Coach Prime because we can't ignore Coach Prime.
That's the game of the week.
That's our game of the week. That's
the gridiron for the gridiron week. Yeah. So we got the pitch game and then gridiron.
Yeah. So Texas State, they rebuilt their roster the same way Coach Prime did.
Did they really? All right, so let's talk about that before we even get in further. What did he do differently? Well, that everybody's up in barms about. What the heck are they talking about?
So he came in and basically basically flipped the table that the whole you're building Legos. You got this beautiful Millennium Falcon built on the table. Well, the Millennium Falcon is the college football system in the FBS last year and the years before. Oh, this is our tradition. This is our everything. This is how we build teams. The transfer portal. Okay, your little brother's coming in, starting to mess with things. You're like, okay, the transfer portal. And then Coach Prime says, you know what? I like what my little brother's doing. He flips the whole table over, destroys it, says, I'm doing it my way. He comes to Colorado day 1 of his coaching job next year and basically tells the players that don't want to be there to hop in the transfer portal because I'm bringing my own luggage with me, and it's Louis Vuitton. One thing I love about Coach Prime is he expects excellence from his players. He wants people with the right mindset, the right attitude. He wants dogs, basically, man. Guys who are gonna bite and fight and give everything they have in every
So
phase of the
he
game.
basically, so
Yeah,
I'm following here, but what did he do?
he
Like,
he basically had 60. He had 70 plus players leave the team through the transfer portal, and he brought in 68. He basically came to said,
can you do that
yeah, he did it.
through the portal?
Through the portal. He brought in 68 transfer players, including 5-star transfer Travis Hunter, and then also his son Shadur from Jackson State last year, man. He went in and did something people were like, oh, you can't do this, it's gonna upset the balance. No, he's like, the opportunity's here. Why not take it? And he went in there, he basically went in day one at Colorado after his introduction, still wearing his little suit and his hat from his presser, and said, y'all better get out of here if you can't meet the standards, basically. And it's a lot of you were recruited by different staffs. I appreciate all you've done for the program, but
Yeah,
get out, man. So he
that's
basically had a
what.
bunch of
Yeah,
players. There's only a few that are still left over from last year, that stuck around and battled it out to be part of that program. Yeah,
so
68
what is that?
different players.
So what does that do for the scholarships that
I
were
mean,
there already?
when you leave, you lose your scholarship. I mean, plain and simple. And
What?
then
How does that do? How does that work with the portal?
So a player leaves, you bring him
Mhm.
on. Okay, cool. I have a scholarship freed up. Well, he'd also would take this. He would take scholarships away. You had to re-earn your scholarship if you were a scholarship player there. You had to prove that you deserved it.
Wow.
Like Coach Prime, man, the one thing I love about him is the reason he's different too is he has exacting standards in a world that doesn't want to put exacting standards on our youth, and he is unapologetic about it and
I
says,
agree
"I'm
with him.
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm gonna do it the right
Hmm.
way." And you may
Yep.
not like it, you may not agree with it, but it's
Yep.
what's best for my program. And
Yep.
he's week one, he showed it. I mean, now
Hmm.
the season's a long season. Do I think they're gonna go 12-0? I would love to see that. I would love to see the fact that he took a 1-11 team and he basically completely dumped in the transfer portal, came back to a
Yeah.
12-0 team. Dude, that would be insane. Um,
Right.
Now what this means for college football though is that any new coach coming in could potentially follow that same model, dump every player on his roster, and rebuild it from the ground up in the way he wants to, in his image, so to say.
Hmm.
So that's what's got people upset is what it does to the world of college football in a sense.
Hey, for all you listeners out there, we're only gonna do this one time. We're gonna talk about we're just gonna move on to Colorado TCU, but there's an upset alert. 21-7, Duke.
Yeah, that's actually I've been watching this game out of the corner of my eye the whole night. I want to talk about that here once we have the gridiron, but man, I kind of called this as one of my upsets of the
Wow.
week.
Did you?
I had a
Oh
feeling.
man.
I didn't expect it to be this lopsided, but I thought Duke would. I felt Duke would take him to the wire, man.
Anyway, Colorado versus TCU. Great freaking game. Great
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
players. TCU.
Offensive
Great on the Colorado.
juggernauts. Oh,
Just freaking
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, it's not like TCU didn't produce on offense. They produced on offense.
Yes, they did.
I mean, they
But they are
scored
not. But they
45
should not be
points.
ranked. They should not be ranked 17th. Should be.
No,
And I said that.
no.
Did I say that? No, I had them higher.
You thought TCU deserved a little more respect
So
after being a
this
college
was
football
an
playoff team
upset.
last
It
year.
was a huge upset on my end. Yep.
I'm not gonna call it an upset. I'm gonna call it a coming out party for Colorado and Coach Prime. Coach Prime came in
because I didn't believe, but they're coming.
the Heat.
They're coming.
They're coming. He's coming. He came.
He's coming. He came. He's coming.
Yeah,
coming.
he threw the gauntlet down. Man, like this game overall, Shadur Sanders, 510 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He set a school record in passing his first game in a Colorado uniform. Okay, but dude, Travis Hunter. Oh my goodness. The guy played both ways. He is in the footsteps of Coach Prime Deion Sanders himself, playing both ways. He's playing defensive back and wide receiver. He played over 100 snaps this past weekend. And the fact that he wasn't huffing, he was still hustling the whole time.
And in the interview, he's like, I can go again. Let's go.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's singing, he's dancing in the locker room. Like, the dude's got no quit. The dude is the best player in the nation, hands down. Hands down, best athlete. I hope he wins the Heisman, dude. And I don't know if you saw that in that post-game interview with Coach Prime where he said he got that Heisman in his fridge chilling, like.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I would love to see a two-way player win the Heisman. That would be insane.
That would be amazing.
Travis Hunter is probably the most electric player, though, in college football right now. He made some great interceptions, some great grabs. He fought with tenacity. And that's the thing, too, is where TCU, they were successful on offense. They scored 45 points. They looked like they were going to win the game at the end before Colorado came out on top.
It's weird. Every time TCU scored, I'm like, Colorado's going to score.
Yeah.
I was that unbelief that I'm like, no, they ain't going to rebound. No, they ain't going to rebound.
Yeah.
I think they're going to score.
Yeah. Yeah. The Colorado, they gave you that belief. And I will say this, the physicality of Colorado's offense is what did it for me. The defense could use some work. That's the area. This is why I'm not so quick to say this is going to be a 12-0 season yet until I see a little more from the Colorado defense. But overall, the Colorado offense was clicking on all cylinders. Shadur Sanders is a dog. Like, he is a straight dog, man. Like, the finesse he had on those balls, and with his and just torching defense with his legs.
Yeah.
The dude was solid. He will be if he continues that level of play all season long, he will easily be in Heisman conversations. He is definitely I think one of the most underrated players going into the season. A lot of people didn't put a respect on his name, but they're gonna do that now.
Oh, heck
yeah, man. Yeah, what were your thoughts on this game, man?
You heard my thoughts on this. the whole weekend. Dude, it's I'm a very I want consistency. What I felt in this game, it's like, this is okay, it's coming out. Where is this due for TCU? Where, like, this is just his first year. And is that going to be a wake-up call when they go to Nebraska, when Nebraska comes to Colorado? What does this look like as far as there's more questions than there are coming? For me, realistically, there's more questions they are coming out party. How are you going to deal with Nebraska? This is only your first year. Adversity. I wanted to see, like, going back to Tottenham or Alabama or any of my favorite teams, Phillies, or any team that I'm rooting for. I want to see how you are in adversity.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're going to win the game.
I will say their back was against. It was a shootout. I mean, the game was a shootout.
Almost every freaking drive was their back against the wall.
Credit to TCU. I still think TCU is not that bad of a team. Defensively, TCU was, and so was Colorado. Colorado's defense is getting worse too.
But Colorado stepped up
again. And then in the adversity, when their back was against the wall, Colorado's D stepped up and took the game from them.
So when Nebraska is going to go back and forth.
So the thing with Nebraska that's going to be different next week is it's going to be very power heavy football. It's going to be a completely different offensive set than they played against TCU. TCU played Big 12 air raid spread option style of football. They are very, both teams are very pass heavy. I will say though, the ground game, I think it was Edwards was his name for Colorado. He was great in the backfield. The other back for Colorado was great too as well. Yeah, but I will say this is that the style of football they'll be in style football in general they'll be facing next week is going from Big 12 football, which is usually spread receiver heavy air raid styles of football, to Big 10 football, which is more physical in your face. Like, we are going to make you fight and scrap for every single yard. And I'm going to say this. I mean, Nebraska this past weekend, I'm a Minnesota fan, so I'm going to watch every Minnesota game.
Yeah.
They put up a good fight against Minnesota, and they
Yeah,
were shutting them
congrats, dude.
down.
Congrats, dude.
Yeah,
That's a
it
big
was a
win.
heck of a win. It was
Huge
a
win.
big win. Big
Pat
win.
McAfee about kickers. Kickers are people too.
Yep, Dragon. Dude, like, oh my gosh, Dragon Kasich, man. That guy, shout out to that guy. He is the man. Shout out Dragon Kasich.
Yeah.
He nailed it. That lefty, man. He's a lefty.
So
but anyway, back to
Nebraska,
this. Yeah.
Nebraska, I think you're right. I think with the portal, I think it does balance it out. Which we'll get into when we get into a little brief. When we get to the FSU LSU game, we're gonna talk about the SEC, which I'm really, 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 really disappointed with. I am extremely disappointed with.
You mean the fact that Vanderbilt's the best team in the SEC right now? Sorry,
let's keep it going. No, let's keep it going. It's 3-0, Vandy. 3-0.
Anyway,
yeah. TCU. Colorado, it was just everything was there. It was for me, other than if I think this upset's going to happen. This is the game of the week for me.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean, it's electric. It was a great first game of the college football season. If you didn't watch this game, you missed out.
Yeah.
It was an offensive juggernaut. It was primetime TV with Coach Prime. I'm just going to be interested to see because it's next week's. They're going up against Matt Rule, former Baylor head coach, former Temple head coach, former Carolina Panthers head coach, who's back. Who's in his first year coaching at Nebraska. I like Matt Rule.
Me too.
I've been watching a lot of his their behind the scenes footage of how he's been going through practices. Really putting perspective for a lot of players. Matt Rule's a good guy. I think it's going to be interesting. Both coaches in year one trying to prove something. Nebraska is notoriously good at keeping games close, but they're really also notoriously good at losing close games.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been
relevant since like the early aughts,
90s.
Yeah, late 90s, early aughts.
When I mean they're still preaching about who was it? Coach Armstrong, Osborne.
Tom Osborne. Nebraska's the greatest team on earth. They deserve everything.
Well, they haven't talked about a winning team since Tom Osborne.
I really think firing Bo Pelini was the worst mistake they ever made, man. Bo Pelini was actually doing pretty well. He was winning 9-10 games a season every year. Like, no, it's not good enough. You can't bring us a championship. Let's go get someone else.
That's a very interesting culture out there.
Yeah,
very interesting.
They have nothing else. I mean, they love their sports there. I mean, you saw they sold out that volleyball game in Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there's a lot to see. So we'll see. I think Colorado's got a really good future ahead of them. I think Colorado will be threatening.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see.
I think next year with the 12-team playoff, Colorado will be in that playoff. So anyway, and also, hey, if you're looking at other coaches we're thinking of. Or that we're thinking may be fired or maybe coaching for their job this season, go check out the latest blog post on footballfieldpass.com. We talked about the 5 coaches this season that are probably coaching for their jobs or their seats are heating up.
Did you get that up? I want to see that.
I got that up. It's up.
I want to see that.
Footballfieldpass.com.
Go to footballfieldpass.com. FSU versus LSU.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let me start with the rant. And then we'll dig in.
All right, rant alert! Rant alert!
Rant alert! SDC fans. That's actually
it's like a tsunami.
That was dead on.
Thank you. My next gig is doing the lightsaber sound effects for Star Wars movies.
That was actually pretty cool. SEC fans.
Shit.
Such a dork. I'm a dork. I liked it. SEC fans. Fans. Okay.
All right. Preach on it,
Florida.
I need to get. Hang on, before you get going, I need to get like some B3 Hammond organ going in here. That's what I need, man. Like you preach it in one of them spirit-filled churches.
Let me tell you, SEC fans.
Oh man,
Florida. Let's start with Florida. Urban Meyer should be like Tim Tebow should be rolling in the graves.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because when Miami started to lose back in the 80s, the alumni said, "We gave you this, and you're screwing it up." As SEC fans, I think one time Auburn had like, I almost picked my mouth, had like UMass.
Yeah.
Okay. Florida, you lost to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a crap. I do not give a crap that they were ranked. You should have won that game. You are an SEC program.
Yep.
You should have upset them. You are Florida Gators. LSU, I don't care if it's Florida State. I don't care if it's Middle Tennessee State. You better win that game. You are LSU. You were ranked. They were ranked 5.
But FSU
I know
was ranked 8.
I know LSU's ranked 2. I get it. But you are LSU. South Carolina. I don't know. I just know as the SEC, these are the powerhouses. Your national championship might be done. And you might be done going to the SEC championship. But I'm calling. I'm not so much for LSU yet, but I'm calling already the Florida head coach. What are your thoughts?
You think?
What are your thoughts?
I think.
Am I too hard? Am I too hard right now? Go ahead. Be devil's advocate, please. Please calm me down. Give me the spirit.
I'm gonna talk you down. So this is what I was trying to say earlier before we jumped into this. I've lived all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived all over the country. Mm-hmm. I've lived in the Midwest. I've lived in the Northeast. Obviously college football is important. College football is something different. It's the fabric community. In the SEC, it's just different. It's another level.
It's Florida Saturday, Sunday church.
It's seriously and like who was it? I can't remember. It was one of the newer coaches saying like, I thought I knew what it was like to coach in a big time high pressure football program. Not until I got to the SEC, because down here all we have is college football.
Oh, it's college football.
I mean, Baton Rouge. I live in Baton Rouge. The city shuts down for LSU games. Anything LSU does. They packed out they sold out women's basketball games last year. They love that university. The state loves that university. I mean, we love Louisiana Tech. We love Louisiana Monroe, both winners this week. Go Dogs, go Warhawks. But I am with the SEC, with Alabama, like I was saying, it's like everything. Tuscaloosa, what they got Bama. What they got in Knoxville. Knoxville's got a lot of stuff going on, but they got Rocky Top. Tennessee. Rocky Top's everything.
Rocky Top, Tennessee. I'm wearing orange for him.
But again, it's different down here, and the pressure's high, and the expectation is massive. Now, college football as a game, college football as a sport, it is one of the most unpredictable, wild rides, and this is why we love it. It's the same thing as the reason we love Premier League, is that insanity can occur every single Saturday. Mm-hmm. Some team can come with a really good game plan, a really good fight. They can identify some weaknesses. Some young coordinator can come in, and they can beat an SEC team. Mm-hmm. I think Utah is a good team, and Florida came in disrespecting them, thinking, and this is the thing. We talked about mindset. We talked about winning mindsets earlier.
Yep.
Florida came in to talk to Utah. They were making fun of their stadium. They're making fun of them, thinking like, oh, we gonna walk all over them. We gonna kill them. Utah has a great program. They were threatening for they were Pac-12 champions last year. They were threatening for a playoff spot, and they were without their starting QB Cam Rising. They went the 2 quarterback set, or not 2 quarterback set, but they went for 2 quarterback rotation for the whole game. And they game plan, they out game plan. And the thing that was sad to see for Florida is that they had so many procedural, undisciplined miscues. And that was, I think, for the Florida Gators, the biggest mistake this past weekend is there was a lack of discipline across the board. Billy Napier needs to either get those boys in shape or he's going to lose his job. And I
if I was a Florida Gator fan, which again I almost picked my mouth, I want them out. LSU, you played number 8. That's almost close to being that's close to being a bowl game, a national championship game. You're forgetting.
And Florida State's loaded this year. Mike Norvell. Let's get to the game at hand. The one that's down here in the corner that we should be talking about.
Yep, that's fine. So my rant's done. My rant's done. I need you to calm me down.
SEC do better. Basically, long story short, I'll give you the too long didn't read for Chris. SEC do better.
Do better. Do your job.
Yeah. So this game, Florida State's a good team. Florida State, it was a good game into the half. It was a great game into the half. It was nice and even. LSU looked in control. Florida State looked in control. Mm-hmm. However, coming out of the locker room, it looked like LSU didn't make any adjustments. Mm-hmm. Florida State, something happened in between the first half and second half. They got more physical. They got more brutal. The things that won them the game were the physicality on defense and that relentless dog-like attitude. I mean, Jared Verse, defensive end for Florida State, was an absolute beast. I mean, you saw that one play probably where Jaden Daniels got pile drived into the ground. Trying to jump the pile. Mm-hmm. It was great. They also started dropping more folks back. They took away a lot of Jaden Daniels' favorite routes, favorite places to throw. They put a lot of pressure on him. He just couldn't get comfortable in the pocket the second half. The LSU had virtually no run game whatsoever the whole game. So I think that was also something that hurt them. Mm-hmm. But I said this when we did our preseason expectations. The Florida hype is real. The Florida State hype is real. Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman, Jaheim Bell, I can't remember his first name, Wilson, the other receiver. They have Johnny Wilson. They have a powerful offense. And Mike Norvell, don't sleep on him. He knows how to get the best out of his players. He did so at Memphis. He built a powerhouse at Memphis when he was there. The reason he has this job is because of the job he did at Memphis.
Right.
And now he is building a program back to something. Jordan Travis looked amazing. If he continues this level of play, Heisman conversation candidate. Mid-season. But again, this is a good game. These are two top-tier teams going against each other. I don't think the LSU team was executing the way they should have, the way Brian Kelly wants them to. Mm-hmm. Brian Kelly looked visibly frustrated the whole game because he could see that his team was absolutely losing their mind. Because the one thing about Brian Kelly, he is all about process. Let's trust our process. Do what we will. It's the reason he's been so successful. The process for LSU did not go well. They just looked sluggish. And then also too in the second half when Florida State went to that 2-back set, it opened so much downfield for Jordan Travis. I mean, Keon Coleman, he had three touchdowns, receiving touchdowns to his name in the Michigan State transfer. I called it too when we were talking about it earlier. I said Keon Coleman was going to be an instant impact player from the transfer portal for Florida State. And so was Jaheim Bell. Both were absolute dynamos out of the field. They gave Jordan Travis the weapons he needed. Florida State, all aboard that hype train. What are your thoughts, man?
I'm not.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask one question and we'll move on.
Yeah.
Do you think Florida State's back?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's like we were talking about earlier with Colorado.
Swing.
We need a better resume, so to speak. A better sample size to say, are they truly back? I will say, like, Jordan Travis played lights out. Keon Coleman, the whole game plan, the whole offense in general for Florida State, top notch. The defense was an absolute gang. Like there's this one swim move I saw Jared Verse throw on Will Campbell for LSU, where he just literally, like, I think it was a 1 second touch from Campbell. Verse was off him and to Daniels and sacking him in a sec, man. It was great. I mean, overall, I think FSU was the more talented team, the more physical team. The reason they won that game is because they were the team that had better motivation behind them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
man.
follow that. We had a duck.
Oh.
We had a duck. Let me talk about this too. Status quo. You Oklahoma fans and you Duck fans, you need to calm down. Okay.
Hey,
First
they were
off,
running that clock up. They were running that score
they
up.
were running that score up, and then not only that, I remember a certain Hurricane team used to get picked on because you pick on these little teams. Anyway, so a Duck got tired, bro. Tell me about that.
Oh man, like let me just change my background really quickly because I want to throw the Duck up there because the poor guy, the poor University of Oregon mascot, laying on the floor. If you see that score there, Oregon played. Can you see it right there?
What's so funny? Everyone's like, "Is he okay? Is he okay?" The West Virginia cheerleader's like, "All right, well, good. That's the only thing we did win." That's not
West Virginia. That's
the West Virginia girl.
That's an Oregon.
That's an Oregon girl. Oh,
that's Oregon. West
Virginia just completely lost everything. I mean, not Virginia. Who they play? I don't
Portland
know who
State. They played Portland State. FCS team Portland State.
Oh my god.
So
I thought it was a Portland State cheerleader. Then no, she was.
No, that's a University of Oregon cheerleader. They wear those.
Look at him. Look at the girl. Look at the girl on the other side. Look at the guy. Look at the guy. He's like, should we call 911?
For all of you who don't know, the mascot for Oregon, the Duck, he does push-ups for the score of the game. So they score their first touchdown, he'll do 7 push-ups. They score 2 touchdowns, he'll do 14 push-ups. They score 3 touchdowns, he'll do 21 push-ups, and so on and so on and so on. They scored 81 points. He did 500, I think, like 46 push-ups. I mean, there was a point where the guy was about ready to go to sit-ups. I think they said
dedication. He was dedication.
MVP of the week right here. I know.
I agree. Yeah, he's the player of the game of that game. Who gives a crap about the team?
Bo Nix. I mean,
no.
Heisman candidate. What? I mean,
no. Heisman. What? I got a Duck. He's dead on the ground
for 546 push-ups. That poor mascot, man. That poor mascot. No, I just thought it was crazy. I thought that was a crazy thing. 81 points. Bo Nix looked as good as promised. The Oregon offense looked as good as promised. You know, in this early season, a little warm up against Portland State. So, it remains to be seen. Again, we got a couple more games to see. Who's who. Yeah. Are they who they saw? Are they who we thought they were? Yes. Anyway, man. Anyway.
Yeah. Final thoughts when we end the gridiron. And even if I know you got a couple.
Oh, I got a couple. Overall, I know you mentioned this too. The strength of the group of 5 teams from the American Athletics, the Sun Belt, the Conference USA teams was actually really good this weekend. Fresno State came in and took $1.35 million of Purdue's money to beat them. They beat Purdue this weekend. And Fresno State has been always one of those programs that's sneaky good. They always come out with these really good, sneaky good teams that can throw those upsets down. Tulane looked really good. One of the highest QB rating this weekend was from Michael Pratt, the QB at Tulane. He had a phenomenal game where they obliterated South Alabama, who was considered to be a potential contender for one of the top group of 5 teams this year. And then, across the board, FAU had a good game. FAU looked really good. I mean, even teams that lost, Louisiana Tech looked good. There's a lot of teams that are looking good from the group of 5, and there's a lot of strength. UTSA versus Houston. I think, did UTSA win this weekend? I can't remember that. UTSA, not UT Arlington. UT San Antonio.
Who they play?
They played Houston.
I think Houston won.
You pretty sure on that? Let's fact check. Live fact check.
Live fact check here.
Here we go. Ready? No, they lost by 3. They lost by field goal. Houston won by field goal. But still, again, too, think about this. Fouston is a Big 12 team now. They are a Power 5 conference team now. That's one thing you have to remember. This season is, again, everything's changing. So last year, the 4-team playoff, last year of our conferences. We know the Pac-12 is slowly dying.
Yeah,
it's actually it's on hospice. Let's be real.
It's on hospice. It's on
It's on
hospice. Because what? All the 4 of the 7,
all
4
the teams,
teams,
everyone except Wazoo and I think who else? I can't remember. One other team hasn't found a conference home. I mean, we have USC, UCLA joining the Big Ten. We have Oregon's joining the Big Ten as well. We have and we also we said USC, UCLA, and then Oregon. There's one other team from the Pac-12 joining the Big Ten. We have 2 teams joining. We have Stanford and I think one other joining the ACC, which makes no sense. Stanford and Cal are joining the ACC. We have some teams joining the Big 12. Colorado's jumping to the Big 12 next year. Conference realignments is insane, guys, and it's all about money for these colleges.
It's all about money.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what was I saying before I got in this? What was I even saying before we got
the FBS?
Yes.
5.
Yes. Yeah. Houston. Remember, we have to remember this year, Houston, Cincy, and University of Central Florida. Those are all Big 12 teams now. They're no longer American Athletic Conference. They're playing in Power 5 conferences. So for UTSA, a Conference USA team, to take Houston to the brink like that, that's a pretty big deal. Houston's a good team, and they were wearing some sweet threads this weekend too. I don't know if you saw that Houston Oilers throwback uniform they were wearing, bro.
I did not see that, man.
It's beautiful. Go check that out if y'all haven't seen that. Y'all listen.
Yeah, guys.
Go check out that drip from them. There's a lot of good uniform options this past weekend. So I would say that. And then 2, kind of talking about the Pac-12. The Pac-12, I mean, for being on hospice, it was the only unbeaten
conference.
Yeah.
Yep. That's crazy.
Yeah, and one player to kind of shout out, just to kind of throw a little early teaser, a little trailer for the end of this. I'm torn on my player of the week this week.
All right, let's move on to that, man.
We want to go there. I'm not even going there. I was just giving a little tease, a little amuse-bouche.
Yep, not yet.
A little amuse-bouche for this. But Michael Penix Jr., man, the QB for Washington Huskies, torched Boise State's offense.
Yes,
he had 5 touchdown passes.
Yes,
he had, I think, 400 and what was it? It was 410 or 400 and something else. He was absolutely shredding the Boise State defense at home this past weekend. He looks so good. He looks so strong. In that start against Boise State. And the one thing about Boise State, they're not a slouch, group of 5 team. This past weekend, the 50-something points that Washington Huskies put up on them is the most points allowed by Boise State since 2007. Dude, that's a big deal. And Penix has been a candidate. They're a considered candidate for the Heisman in the preseason talk. It honestly,
it is a quarterback season. It is a quarterback season.
It's quarterback season. Well, anyway, he absolutely torched that defense. He was 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, 29 of 40. He spread the ball around. It was good, and a lot of it was, 130. He had 2 receivers over 100 yards, with one other at 95. I would say that's distribution of some love right there. It's going to be interesting to see as they get into that Pac-12 slate.
Yeah,
what happens? But yeah, don't sleep on that Pac-12. You got Colorado on the Pac-12, Utah on the Pac-12, Washington, Oregon.
They're staying, right? They're staying in the Pac-12.
No, they're not staying. They're all jumping.
There are what?
Washington's jumping to the Big 12 or the Big 10. Oregon's jumping to the Big 10. Colorado's jumping to the Big 12. All these teams, that's what I'm saying. This is the last year. They say they might as well go out with a bang.
Yep, Pac-12's done.
Yep, unless they get a bunch of group of 5 teams to come up. But anyway,
it's all money, man.
Yeah, one other thing I want to ask you, man.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
What do you think of Ohio State's?
We didn't talk about that.
No, we haven't talked about Ohio State yet.
Oh, okay.
I know how much you love. Hey, you should love talking about this because they failed. They failed.
Yeah, they didn't blow out, man. Gonna be interesting.
Mhm.
Gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Tom Allen, again, another coach who's coaching for his life this season.
Mhm.
He held them to like. I mean, I remember seeing a first half stat where he was held to only, I think, both the receivers were held to under 50 yards, 60 yards, which is
Mhm.
impressive altogether. I mean, I think that's something we really need to think about, really.
Mhm.
So.
All
But
right.
yeah, I'm really not. I'm not as hyped up on Ohio State. They got a lot of execution things to get together. If it was,
A certain guy on his podcast said something like that, but
yeah, I know. I mean, but I think
I
they
wonder who
still
said
deserve.
that. I wonder who said that.
I will still say they've got
Yeah.
a talented crew. They recruit
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
they need to step up, or they're going to be dropping
I
in the
hope so.
rankings.
Now they'll just go up.
That's your always thing. They lose. They go up. They
just go
step
up.
on a landmine. They
They
go
step
up.
in line, they go up. So
Jeez, the whole team. I mean, it's just, yeah. Anyway, but
yeah,
that's my thoughts on that.
cool, man. No, good. And one final thing.
Yeah.
The catch. Talk about the catch, man.
Oh, this right here. So this is
Dude.
my I can't believe this moment. Apart from all the other things happen on this Minnesota. So y'all know me. I love to row the boat with Minnesota. I'll rock that. I love PJ Fleck. I think he's a great leader of men. For those of you who haven't seen this past weekend, Minnesota was down by a touchdown against Nebraska, and they needed something to happen. So an out route happened. A beautiful. I mean, just even not even that toe tap, that whole route run by Daniel Jackson, who again people sleep on the receiving core up at Minnesota, but they're solid. They got Matt Simon, who's one of the best receiving coaches in the country. He's produced NFL talent. I'm going to pull up a highlight really quickly so we can all watch this together here. If y'all are missing out on the on Spotify, honestly. So, but Daniel Jackson comes out. He throws down his back foot, kind of does that jump man stretch, as you can see behind me.
Yep.
And absolutely just dominates with that catch. He jags that back toe just in beautiful sync. Here we go. Now I got it up. Let's get this bread. All right. So let me present to y'all.
This is an amazing catch.
This is an amazing catch.
This is the catch of the weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely, share. So let's go back. You can all see it with me here. So you can see that boom, that toe drag right there. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely.
Right here is beautiful. Right there.
Boom. Oh,
yep.
That is just absolute body control. It's absolute just cleanness. It just shows you he had great awareness to get that back toe down and to use that body control midair to do that. Just phenomenal play all around from Daniel Jackson. It was the player of that game for sure. He took that team on his back and did some great things. Anywho, though, the other thing I can't believe, man, we talked about a little bit with Colorado and TCU. Dude, Travis Hunter, man.
I know. We did talk about it.
We did. I mean, he's a beast. I mean, did you see that one pick that he threw down? That one pick where he just kind of jumped out of nowhere?
Yep. I saw that. I was like, what is going on? This kid.
Yeah, I mean, he just came out of nowhere. And just absolutely obliterated. Oh man,
just everywhere. Other than the announcers were going crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I think people don't realize just the pure athleticism it takes to make that pick. And I'm telling you now, man, like I'm getting that one up too for us to watch here on this. Yeah. If you're not watching us on YouTube, I mean, you're missing out on this quality video analysis from two guys who've never played the sport.
Oh, don't give me that. We play some good flag football.
We play flag football again in church.
I can't believe you beat me on. I can't believe you beat me on.
We're both generally fluffy gentlemen.
Fluffy
gentlemen.
You beat me.
People don't realize I'm a deceptively chunky person.
You are deceptively fast.
Yeah. So anyway, Travis Hunter. Watch this pick over here. Boom,
dude, that's crazy, man.
The sickest pick. I mean, look how hyped up he is. This is Look. Just look at how he comes out of nowhere.
Just
Boom.
nowhere.
Oh, and it was a good place back shoulder throw by Chandler Morris. Look at the guy's face. I mean, like just like that was perfect. I mean, like you can't make that up.
That's
It was
beautiful.
so good. It
That's
was so
beautiful,
good.
man. That's
So
beautiful.
Travis Hunter, man, that
Travis
kid
Hunter.
is gonna he's gonna be something on Sundays. I'll tell you that. But anyway, taking my Minnesota hat off, I'll
Yeah,
bring
man.
it back.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's great stuff, bro. It's great stuff. But yeah, anyway.
Let's go to our picks, man. Picks Gridiron, picks Premier League. Let's finish the show with
you wanna
this.
You want to go with Gridiron since we've been there? You want to go
Gridiron first? Let's go Gridiron. Let's go Gridiron.
Who's your pick of the week? Tell me
Jalen.
who and why.
Jalen. Milroy.
Why?
5 touchdowns. 3 passes.
Biased Alabama fan.
Yep. Whatever. Jalen Milroy, University of Alabama. I watched this kid last year, and I was like, this is not the system for him. I was not a Bryce Young fan.
Oh, I know you weren't. You told me.
I think he made some things happen. I'm like, oh, okay. But he never won the big one.
Nope.
And we didn't even get to the playoffs. So you failed me. So Jalen, I think
you ain't first, you're last.
You ain't first, you're last. All
right, Ricky Bobby.
But Jalen, player of the week. What about you, bud?
My player of the week. Okay, so I kind of gave away
the Oregon Duck.
The Oregon Duck, hands down. That man,
hands down. 526 push-ups. Get it.
546 push-ups. He does it in a costume. That guy, solid athlete. People don't give him enough credit. He runs out in front of that team.
Stop it. He is not the Oregon. He's not the Oregon Duck. What is your Gridiron?
If I could, I'd make my Gridiron player of the week. Can we make a graphic for that where it's just the Oregon Duck is not just the unanimous player of the week for us? Please do that. Please do that.
I will work on that. Definitely.
Oh, just give me our unanimous consensus for Heisman winner. Our pick for Heisman winner, Oregon Duck mascot. But no, really, it's for me. I've had such a hard time choosing. It's come down to Michael Penix Jr., Travis Hunter.
Come on, man. What are you picking?
We got that 1. We got that 2. I'm gonna say Penix Jr. was great. His QBR was phenomenal, but my edge is gonna go to Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. I was gonna be like, if you didn't go Travis Hunter, it's crazy.
I mean, it's late. I'm dying slightly inside, from all the artwork today in the Louisiana Heat. Because, like I said earlier, someone had to do actual work here in Louisiana. Because apparently LSU couldn't do that yesterday.
Ooh, man, you just burn.
Again, let's see what being an SEC fan has done to me, bro.
Good, man. You come to the dark side. You came to the wrong dark side, but you came to the right dark side in the conference.
Hey,
so that's
good. Hey. Anything's better than being an Auburn fan.
Got that right.
Anyway, my pick for my Gridiron player of the week is definitely Travis Hunter. The dude played 2 ways. Wide receiver, DB, had picks, had tons of yards receiving. The dude's going to be a beast.
Yep. Premier League pitch player of the week.
Okay, so I originally thought, like I said earlier, Evan Ferguson because of his hat trick with Brighton.
Yep.
But really, if you go back and watch the game, the player who made that hat trick possible is Bobby Gilmore. So Bobby Gilmore is my Premier League player of the week.
Nice.
Bobby Gilmore
it's always a guy that has to be like he's the guy. And yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So he had beautiful passes that he was the one that made every single one of those goals possible. If it wasn't for those passes, and the beautiful play of Bobby Gilmore, Evan Ferguson would not have a hat trick, and I don't think Bright would have won 3-1. I think they would have drawn.
I agree.
Yep. So that's my pick. What about you, Chris? Who's your pick for Premier League player of the week?
I'm so glad he came back. He came back with a hat trick himself. Son.
Boo.
Son from the Hotspurs. Good to see you back, son. Good to be back. Son. It's gonna be back, son.
Bias. He picks Alabama. He picks Tottenham. The dude's just picking his teams. I'm gonna have to keep track how many players he actually picks from Bama and Hotspur this season. because the more if he keeps doing this, guys, I'm gonna call bias on him. The dude. Oh, Chris,
Son.
son.
I think the reason why is because it's kind of a little bit of a drought. And it was a little bit like he's being the captain the way he should be, whereas all his team. And for him to step up and be like, I got to do this. Because we were down, I believe, 1-0.
Yeah.
And then Son just turned it up. So
yeah.
That was a good game. That was a great game. I loved that.
Yeah.
Great match. So
absolutely.
That's our Premier League Players of the Week and the Gridiron Players of the Week. You can see those guys on earlier this week, especially the Gridiron and the Pitch segments as well. And if you want the full episode, you know what to do. You're watching it right now. Final thoughts, man.
Dude, I'm exhausted from this weekend of college football and soccer. It has been a great great weekend. I loved all the football we got to watch on both types of football. Yeah, man, it's I'm excited to have the international break coming up, to be honest with you. I don't know what insanity we decided upon when we decided to cover 2 different sports in one podcast, but hey, this is what makes us beautiful, bro. We got 2 insanely beautiful games and 2 insanely beautiful things. What about you?
Yeah, man. Nothing. Let's get ready for second week. On that note,
yeah,
guys, follow us: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X.
I think of I think of Globo Gym and dodgeball.
Oh yeah, that's it. Follow us. Follow us. Go to our website, footballfieldpass.com, and follow us on Spotify. Leave us a rating. Leave us a comment, and
leave
DM
us
us if you have any love. I like love. We're getting a lot of love. I like it. So whoever's listening to us, who's watching us, whoever is loving us, thank you. We appreciate it. So, man, till next week.
Till next week, everyone. You have a great rest of your week. Hey, guys. Kevin here. On behalf of Chris and myself, we want to thank you so much for watching this episode of Football Field Pass. In between episodes, we encourage you to head over to our website, footballfieldpass.com, for more exclusive content like blogs and more. We also encourage you to follow us on social media and get into the conversation there and let us know what you want to hear about. We can't wait to see you next week on another episode of Football Field Pass.